Namatama Mwanza, a woman of Kabwe in Zambia's Central Province, is a gender-based violence survivor. She stayed with a man whom she once looked upon as a husband for close to 10 years before violence forced her to settle for divorce.
I got married in 2008, and then I was separated in March 2019. Then I got my divorce in November of the same year, 2019. So mine started with verbal abuse from the time we were dating, and I actually inquired about it from his family if he was that kind of a person, and I was told no, maybe it's just stress. So I forgot about that, and then when we got married, it got worse, and it started with slaps, punches, kicks, until it got to points where I ended up with fractures on my body. So through all those years, 2008 to 2019, when I decided to leave, at first I couldn't share the whole experience with my own family. That's my mom and my sister mainly, because I was told by my in-law that I couldn't share such things. But the more I shared it with her, the more it didn't help me at all. And I started withdrawing. There's a point where I didn't want to do anything. I was miserable, I was stressed.
But what was her worst experience?
There's a time I was with him and my friends, and my brother-in-law had come to visit us. So we went by the shops which were close by to have a drink. So somewhere there, somebody came and she caused this scene. When I asked him about it, he actually poured a bottle of alcohol on me in front of everybody. And when he did that, he left us there and went home. When we got home, we found him standing by the door, the main entrance door. And I remember telling my friend that I was with that I didn't want to go in because of the way he is. So I had come to learn his moods, I had come to learn his behavior. So I told her if I go in that house, he's just going to hit me. So I asked her if I could go to her place. She was like, oh no, let me ask him about it first. You know, he's your husband and stuff. So I told her, you know what, just remain. I'm not going inside the house. So I started to walk away. When I walked out of the gate and went to the road, he followed me and he hit me to the ground and started stepping on me. That particular episode had me have, the road was not tarred, it was gravel. So I ended up with stones in my skull. And he hit me and left me there, and he went back home. That's when my friend picked me and took me to her place.
Openly speaking about this abuse was not an easy thing to do.
I'm a medical personnel myself. So when I would go there, I would not say I was beaten. So with the fracture, I would say I slept on wet towels. I would make up excuses the whole time. So I would only be screened. Because I remember when my hand was fractured, I went to my colleague and I asked him, I said, I have a pain in my hand. So after he examined me and he wanted to give me pain meds and some pain rub, he was like, that hand doesn't look very good. Let me do an x-ray. What happened? And I said, I slipped and I fell on my hand. So that's when he took me to do the x-ray. That's when I found that there were fractures. I did a few interviews on radio, and people called it washing dirty linen outside. So I got a lot of backlash from there, and the whole 2019 was a very hard year for me because I didn't even know how it was going to end, how I was going to pull through. But somehow, by God's grace and my mom and my sister and my friends' help, I managed to sit. And then for me, what makes it better is if I talk about it, because for a very long time I couldn't talk about it. I had to sit there and endure it in silence, and it wasn't helpful for me. Both my mental and physical health were disturbed to extents where even my own children noticed that I was not okay. I started having conversations with my daughter, who is the oldest. At the time, she was 9. And when I asked her if she wanted to go with me to live somewhere else, away from that house, and she said yes. When I asked her why, then she said, "You're not happy, mommy, you're always crying." I didn't think they used to see me cry, but they did see me cry. And then they actually told me things that I thought they never saw. So to me, that was really, really painful, because I didn't want them to grow up in a situation like that.
Namatama is not the only victim of GBV. Doreen Mazuba Malambo, a Zambian police officer, has her own story.
I struggled. It wasn't easy for me to just come out of marriage. As you know, the pride of a woman, marriage is one of the key pride of a woman. But because of the violence which I was succumbed to, I thought it wasn't healthy for me, for my children, and for the entire society which I was serving as a police officer, to continue seeing me sobbing in this or wallowing myself into the issues of gender-based violence. So I decided to actually get a summon for me to just have a separation or divorce.
Mazuba, who has been a GBV fighter both in Zambia and at the United Nations Peacekeeping Mission, is keen to see everyone at peace, saying GBV takes away one's peace.
Really interested in seeing everyone being at peace, because GBV, it doesn't give peace to anyone. It doesn't bring development to any society, any family, and any country. So with Zambia being my country, I would opt to ensure that I see that even our able government intensify the policies which are supposed to deal with this vice of gender-based violence.
Gloria Mubita, the Zambia Police Victim Support Unit National Coordinator, explains the role the police is playing in fighting against the vice.
We now have the child protection desk within VSU. We have a desk officer that ensures all matters relating to children and statistics handled by that particular unit. We also have the juvenile justice desk. You heard from our mandate that we also offer counseling to offenders as well. So we have interest in juvenile offenders. We have a desk that deals with juvenile justice. We also have domestic violence desk, for example, the sexual offences desk, for example. So all those are administrative efforts that are aimed at promoting professional handling of GBV in police stations countrywide. Services for victims of GBV are free. So when they come to the police and report a GBV case, we issue a medical report. And then that medical report has to be labeled GBV to enable the hospital facilities know that this kind of assault, for example, is GBV related and not an ordinary assault case. So that when they present that medical report to the hospital, without having to explain too much, usually these people are traumatized. Some may not even be able to speak or something like that. So the hospital will be able to process freely, provide services freely, treat the victim, and also examine the victim for medical evidence where we have to progress to court.
Ms. Mubita notes that most GBV cases happen amongst biological relations, hence increased withdrawal of cases.
This abuse is done within domestic relationships, so people are related. So even where there's no money exchanging hands, for example, if it was committed by a member who's not within that relationship, within that family, they'll still reconcile because they are related anyway. So we still have a lot of withdrawals versus the number of reports and cases proceeding to court ultimately. But the more we raise awareness, the more we encourage them. So awareness raising has a different aspect to it, in that whilst you keep on raising awareness, you'll be able to pull up somebody, or a family member or a friend will be able to encourage them to report. That is very important, because at least that puts a stop to that cycle of abuse. And then moreover, even where cases are reported and withdrawn, the very fact that the police deals with the case, investigates the case, is deterrent to some extent. You know, I know that people don't want to come into contact with the police when they're in conflict with the law. It's very distressing. It disturbs a lot of things, even at the workplace and everywhere. So the more they keep reporting, some actually do not repeat those acts when they're reported. It's deterrent, even in that small way. It makes a difference.
Poverty and vulnerability remain major factors forcing women to endure GBV despite laws punishing offenders seemingly being adequate.